Almost. Here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Layer by Layer tutorial. I'm Noah Ruiz, designer for Adafruit here, and I got a bunch of wristbands here. Yeah, if you couldn't tell from the title, I wanted to share with you guys this kind of project that I'm working on, a new way to kind of make these 3D printed wristbands using Ninjaflex. So a couple of months ago, I put this one together, which is like a wearable breadboard, like the Parametrics that we have in the shop. And I made this little wristband. I also made a similar one for the Circuit Playground board. So I kind of wanted to remake this a little bit better. One of the problems that I had with it is that it was kind of difficult to put on your wrist because although I could make these holes a little bit bigger, it was still a little bit hard to kind of click these in. You got these little nub on one band, and then on the other band you have a series of holes, which is kind of like sort of like the standard way to make a wristband. So for example, this one here is the sort of stock wristband that you get with an Apple Watch. And I took a look at Best Buy and I saw most of them actually look like this. So like the Fitbit and some of the Android Wear watches use this kind of similar thing. A nice rubbery type of thing, and then you have like this a little bit harder thing. So what you could do is probably dual extrude it so that this is like flexible material and then this is like a hard PLA. I haven't tried that yet, but I just wanted to kind of print it all with Ninjaflex. So what I came up with was this one here, which is my watch right now. What I did is I kind of made this long rectangle, and I showed this off on 3D Hangouts earlier in the week, where it's like these two little nubs, and they have like this little offset on the top here, and they're really strong. And you have these two holes here, and you just kind of click them together. It's a lot easier to put on your wrist with one hand, since that's kind of how you put it on. And then you kind of have this excess here that this flaps kind of folds into itself here into the other wristband. And I put some cool patterns on it, like little hexagons and stuff. I did a one of those two processes in Simplify 3D, or you could just pause the printer and swap it out. So you print the first millimeter in one color, then you swap out the filament, and then you print it another color, which is a nice way to kind of get this dual extruded look, even though it's not dual extruded, but it's kind of neat. And the other thing that kind of makes this work is that the Apple Watch has these like these little the way that they connect is through these like little buttons here, and they're like these little connectors. I'm kind of struggling, but there we go. So you can buy these little connector pieces standalone from like AliExpress or eBay, or you could kind of repurpose it. Like here's one of the wristbands that I also have. So you can kind of take these apart. They have like it comes with a little tool here. It's a little 5-star tool. I'm not sure what size it is, but the idea is you kind of just unscrew this, and then you can pop this out. So you don't have to destroy the band. You don't have to cut it or anything. So that's kind of neat. So I came up with a couple different concepts. This one was more of a showy one. So trying to do more of like a utilitarian type thing. I put little, kind of like a bandolier or something. I put these like little holders. These are tool bits. So trying to do like a Leatherman type deal. It's more of a concept. This probably would poke you a little bit. I mean, you could probably wear it like that. It won't poke you that bad, but I haven't really tried that too much. Another thing that I thought was kind of cool is to put a audio adapter. So the iPhone 7 doesn't have an audio plug, an analog audio plug. So it comes with these like little adapters. So what I did is I kind of pasted these like little holders for the audio adapter. So I thought that was kind of neat. The wire kind of sticks out a little bit, so it might not be that practical, but it would kind of probably be over here, so it wouldn't disturb you too much. But they're just some concepts. Really what I want to do is kind of show you guys how you can design your own. So instead of having a bunch of these holes, like this is great for not knowing what wrist you have. But if you're going to make a wristband for your wearable, why not make it custom fitted for you? So this is custom fitted for just me. Well, it's this hand here. So I think what you could do is use user parameters so you can make your own, and kind of wanted to release this file so that folks can just kind of update one value and then kind of make it work for them. So I'll go ahead and take a look now into Fusion 360 and show you guys the CAD, what it looks like. So this is what I put together, and I kind of made a couple different versions, right? So I have this band and then kind of like this regular band. Oh, this is the one with the little kind of holders for the audio adapter thing. But the main thing is that if I wanted to change, let's flip this out. If I wanted to change the overall dimensions of it, or even like the width of it, it's easy for me to do that. So I'm going to open up the user parameters window, and I have a couple of them here already made. So I have the width of the band, so I could change this if I needed to. And everything kind of updates, right? If you notice, like the nubs stayed, but the little opening for it opened up. So there's a really neat way to kind of do this dynamically. Let's see. The other thing is to make it, I have two parameters set for band A and band B, or you can call it band 1 or band 2. So if I wanted to make this a little bit bigger, let's see if anything breaks. Nope. You can see that it stretched the band out, but it kept the two nubs here in the same distance between this little opening. So I'm going to show you guys how you can set that up. I think I messed that up. No, it's fine. So that's really cool. And I also have it set for this one. This one might kind of break though, because I don't think I added any user parameters for handling, like constraints handling these two guys. So I'm probably not going to mess with that. But for now, this one works really well. So I want to show you guys how you can kind of build that using user parameters, but more importantly, understanding how constraints work. So I've covered it in a couple projects, but it doesn't hurt to cover it again, especially with this project, which is more of a wearable and things like that. So let's get started. First thing I want to say is that the actual Apple Band, or the Apple Watch thing, I actually found this on the gallery, the Fusion360 Gallery, which is a part of Autodesk's website. So if you go to gallery.autodesk.com/Fusion360, I'll link this below. There's tons of files and designs that are available for people to check out. I'm kind of new to it. I haven't actually shared anything here yet. I think I'm going to start sharing. But if you're a Fusion360 user, you definitely want to check this site out. It's a lot like the Thingiverse or Umagine or Pinshape, but these are all designs made in Fusion360. Some of them are actually available to download. And what's cool about that is you can download this nice model and then take a look at how it was built by looking at stepping through the design timeline. And you know, really cool. You can rework it and use it in your projects, I suppose, depending on if there's any licenses or whatever. This one was made by Hose from Korea. So shout out to you, sir, for making this. I didn't have to make it. I didn't have to use that in the design, but it kind of helps just kind of to show it like this. Maybe you want to render it out or something like that. Really nice model. A lot more detail than I would have done, but if it's available out there and you want to use it in your project, check out the Fusion360 Gallery. So I have this like new design file and always want to save it out. Make sure you're capturing the design history. You can right click on your main assembly in the browser and make sure you're capturing the design history. And then you have your little timeline at the bottom. So always want to make sure you have that set up. Save it out and then you can import it. So I uploaded this to this project folder. It was a Fusion360 archive, so now I'm just gonna insert it into the document. It was designed for like the center grid, so I don't have to really place it anywhere. It's already in a good spot. Excuse me. So I'll start kind of drawing out some stuff. Next thing I want to do is probably always make a new component for making stuff. So I'm gonna call this wristband. Yeah, just wanted to make sure audio and stuff was working. Okay, so now that I got that going on, I will start with some user parameters. So it's under the modify window here, but I have it saved up here in the toolbar so I can quickly get to it. And I already made some, so I'm going to delete these and remake them. So the way you make them is you start off with this. There's nothing here yet. You can hit the little green plus sign, and then you can add your name to it. So this one's going to be band width. And then we'll have to add something as the sort of value. So I think 24, just like the other one. And then I'll make it like band A length. And then maybe just band A. Give it a width. Or or a length. Band B, and maybe the same. I found that, well, there's always one band that's kind of longer than the other. They don't have to be, but that just seems to work for what I'm working on. All right, so now with those in place, I hit OK, and that's pretty much it. Now I can reference them inside of sketches, so I'll make a new sketch, kind of draw in this area here. Fusion likes to reorient itself, which is okay, I suppose. I'll stick with this orientation. You can always use the view cube to kind of navigate yourself wherever you want. I'm going to start with the center rectangle tool because it'll just work better when we adjust things later. So you always want to kind of work away from wherever you want to be. So if you want this to come out this way, just kind of draw it outside here. So instead of putting a number, this is where I can start using the parameters, right? So I'm going to say band width. Just hit enter. And I kind of hit enter too fast, so I'm going to apply a sketch dimension here and call this band A. Hit enter. All right, so now it's made. I have my little square here, rectangle. If I want to move it, you have some degrees of freedom, right? And the main thing we want to do is to kind of lock it so that this edge here is always connected to this area here. So no matter how I change it, I want to make this locked into this area. So the best way to do it that I found is to kind of project a feature into this sketch. So ideally this edge that I highlighted. So to do that, to project it in, I could just hit P on my keyboard, which is the hotkey for this guy over here under Sketch Project. I can just select one of these edges now. Really doesn't matter which one it is, as long as it's referencing one of the edges that makes sense to you. In this case, it's this one here, so I can click on that. It makes it a little purple thing. That purple color should kind of give you a hint that it is not something that you can adjust. If I were ever to move the Apple Watch, this sketch would go with it because it's referenced to it. So now what I can do one of two things. I could either use a coincidence constraint to say this line should always be over here, or I can use a sketch dimension, which I'm going to do. I can say I want this edge to be a certain distance from that edge. Right now it's set to 15, but maybe we want it to be 1. So now that's locked in place. If I can't move it on the Y, I can move it on the X, but not the Y. So I have it locked in there, which is kind of what I want, right? So now if I ever change the band A width, or length rather, if I change this, you'll notice that it gets, it stays in place over here, but this kind of grows. If I didn't have this constraint set over here, then it would just kind of move freely without any constraints. So I'll put this back to 80. The next thing I'm going to do is make the nub type thing, which is going to be over here. So I'm going to hit OK. So I'm going to make that nub, and I'm going to use a center rectangle again, this guy over here. And it's going to be somewhere here. I want it to be in the center, so I'll just kind of use that center. Whenever you see these dotted lines that are blue, that's telling you that it's kind of referencing another sort of sketch. So in this case, it's a point. So you can see that it's like, hey, that's referencing that. And it doesn't matter right now where I do it as long as it's in the center here on this y-axis. So I'm going to click here. And instead of adding a value for the width, I'm gonna put 1.5 for the sort of height of it, but for the length of it, I'm actually gonna say band width, but minus like 3 or 4 millimeters, probably 4 millimeters. So what you can do here is you can do a little bit of math and say I want to subtract 4 millimeters from the bandwidth, whatever that value is. In this case, it's 24, so it makes it 20, and you know that your sketch dimension is using a parameter when there's a little fx on it. That's like a little to say, but whatever. All right, so now I have that. The next thing I'll do is make another kind of constraint or sketch dimension saying that the center of this little point here, which is our nub, should always be a certain distance from this guy here, the edge of the band. So I can click on those two, and right now it's set to 10, so I'm going to make this, or 10.25, I'm going to make it 10 exact. So now I have those two features. I got the main rectangle here, and then this little nub rectangle here. So I always like to kind of make sure that things are working by always kind of changing and making sure that the constraints are set. Let me open that again. I think I clicked something wrong. So if I were to update the band A version and make this 100, you can see what it's changing and if things are working or not. So this is still 10. This is working okay. Nothing is broken. It's still kind of constrained to this area over here on the watch band or on the watch device itself. So that's working really well. So I hit OK. So this is enough to kind of work with to start extruding. So what I'll do next is just kind of extrude this out and select this area too, because it's going to be a nub, and then just put like -1. I'm going to extrude it downwards just so that I can extrude stuff upwards and not have to worry about adding things to it. So I hit OK. The next thing I'll do is I'll bring back the sketch and go ahead and give it a name. So like band A. Open that because Fusion likes to hide it as soon as you extrude it, which makes sense, but sometimes maybe you don't want to do that. So I'm going to click on that profile and extrude it up by like 2 millimeters, which is okay. And then the next thing I'll do is I want to make an offset here, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make some fillets because those fillets will carry over into the projected sketch that I'll do. So I'm going to hit F on my keyboard, do a marquee selection over here so it selects all 4 corners easily, and then I'll put 1.5 divided by 2 because that's what it is. You can do a little bit of math there, and that gives you a nice rounded edge here, perfect radius here. So that's cool. So now I want to draw on top of this surface here. So to do that, I have it selected. I just clicked on it. It's blue, and I can hit P on my keyboard, and Fusion will automatically create a new sketch. I'll name it later since I can't seem to name it now. I'll do an offset by using the under sketch. You can use offset, or you can use the hotkey O, which I found very fast and useful. I'll do an offset of 0.75 of a millimeter. And now I can extrude this out. I'll hit E on my keyboard to quickly extrude this out. I'll extrude this out by, I think it's 1 millimeter, or maybe 2. Yeah, let's try 2 millimeters for now. I got some I have some overhanging issues here, obviously, so we can kind of clear that out with a chamfer. So I'll use the model sketch box tool by hitting the hotkey S and then just type in cham for chamfer, hit enter to select that. Click on the edge I want to chamferize and put 0.75, okay. And then I'll even round this off here, but with a fillet. So F on my keyboard and click on that, maybe make it 1. So there we go. So now we got this cool nub here. Very nice nub. So now let's see if I update this, the width, the overall length of this band. If I change that, let's change to 80. Things just move with it, right? Fusion's smart enough to update those features because when I drew on top of it, I projected it. So this sketch right here is referencing that surface here, the one where we offsetted. So that when you start sketching on top of other existing geometries, it's really smart to do that because whenever you update something, the features will just kind of carry over to it. The next thing I'll do is just kind of, aesthetic stuff. Add some fillets here, maybe like 4. So that's nice. The next thing I'm going to do is make sort of an opening for the other band to come into. So I kind of need to make one over here. So instead of drawing another sketch, I'm actually just going to go back into band A sketch and just kind of add to this existing sketch because I just find it a little bit easier. So I'll go ahead and use the center rectangle tool again, which is up here under sketch, or you can bring it up with the model sketch toolbox. But I'm just going to do it over here. Again, I kind of want this to be kind of outside. This is going to be the hole needs to be a little bit bigger than the actual width band, the width of the band. So I'm going to do something like 8 for the height, and then for the width, I'm going to say band width plus 4, or maybe even plus 5. I think that'll be okay. And that way, when I create that cutout, I will have enough room to kind of get that, to insert that that second band in here, because I want the band A and band B to be the same width. So to make that hole, what I'll do is I'll just do an offset. So using the hotkey O, offset this to, let's say, 2 millimeters. You do want to have a little bit more area open, just so that you have a little bit of clearance and wiggle room for the other band to get inserted into. So I'll hit OK. And that's kind of it for that. So I'll hit stop sketch. And instead of extruding this out again, I'm actually just going to modify the existing extrusion. So this very first one up here in the bottom timeline here, I'll double click on that. And then I will just click. I'm not going to hold down shift. You don't have to hold down shift. Just click and you can add to your profiles. And I can click on the center one to create that kind of void, that hole. So I'll hit OK. So now when I hit OK, everything gets brought back to the front of the timeline in the future, our current state. And now we have this kind of opening. It's a little bit too big. Maybe we can modify that. We would go back into band A and just kind of change this. If we wanted to make this more dynamic, you could probably make a new user parameter, but I haven't done so. So I really don't need to do that. Now, when I updated it from 8 to 6, you'll notice that it kind of moved on its own. It doesn't know where to move yet, so I need to set a constraint. So I'm going to bring up the sketch dimension tool. I'm going to say I want this center point of the rectangle to be a certain distance from the nub, or this edge over here, the edge of the band. I think I'm going to do the nub, probably over here. Let's do like 12, right? I think that'll be okay. So I'll hit stop sketch. So again, I always recommend, checking your user parameters, update them, and make sure that things are working the way you expect it to. So I updated it from 80 to 100 millimeters, and nothing seems to have broken yet. So that looks pretty good. So now I have this second area added. I'll change it back to 80. So that looks good. Obviously, I can add some fillets and stuff, but it's kind of a waste of time for now. The next thing I'm going to do is kind of create that the little holder area or the little kind of tunnel area, I guess we can call it, which will be on this area. And again, I'm not going to make a new sketch. I'm just going to modify it. I actually want to change the sketch name to nub. Sometimes you do need a new sketch, but in this case, I don't need a new sketch. I'm just going to go back into band A and then make a triangle or a rectangle over here starting on this corner. So I'll use R for rectangle, and then I'll click from here to over here. I'll make it 6 millimeters tall, and then for this I'll just type in width, which is our user parameter for the band. So I'll hit that and hit enter, hit OK. That's kind of it. Now I can extrude this up. Select the profile, hit E on our keyboard. Let's make it 5 millimeters upways, and then we can do a fillet here on these two edges. 5 divided by 2, or 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And then now that I have that, I need to kind of punch a hole through here so that the little band connector can actually get inserted into this area. So with that selected, I'll hit P on my keyboard. That makes a new sketch. I'll use the hotkey C for a circle, for the circle tool. And right away, when I rolled over, Fusion knows that that is the center. And that circle there tells me that it is sort of the center of that area. So I'll make this 3 millimeters. You obviously want to measure the thing that's going to be inserted into this. And that's kind of it. Next, I'll just kind of pull this inward. You could also do like the extent. You can change it from distance to object or all. In this case, I'm going to do all, which seems to work okay, which kind of cuts through the whole thing. And that's our little guy there. So now we got that. I mean, there is an overhang there, but because it's a circular overhang, most 3D printers can handle that okay. So the next thing I'll do is kind of show you guys how I created 2 of these nubs in a quick way. The quickest way I found to do that is to just use a rectangular pattern. So I'll use the sketch toolbox and I'll type in pattern. I got 3 patterns to choose from. I'm going to use the rectangular pattern. And what I'll do is instead of selecting all these faces individually, I'll do like a marquee selection. So click from here, drag, and then let go. And now I have selected like, what, 17 faces? Yeah, that's a bunch of faces. The next thing I need to do is check the directions. I want to go on this direction. You have to select on an edge. It could be any edge, doesn't matter, as long as it's going in the direction that you want it to go. So I can drag this out. I don't want 3 copies, I want 2, so I'll change that to 2. The distance type, I like to use spacing, and I'll make the distance 5 millimeters. So, okay, it automatically kind of glues it to and makes it, attaches it to the existing geometry. So that's what I want. If you didn't want that, I think there's an option for you to change that. So there you go. Yeah. So the next thing you would do is probably we would work on band B, but we really don't need to work on band B. You can kind of use those same things, these same methods that I've been doing. It's really about kind of thinking about knowing when to use, kind of adding features to an existing sketch. Like I have here, I've been adding just what I need. Whenever I make a new sketch, let's name this, I'd call this like hole or something. You don't need to kind of keep creating a bunch of sketches. Try to use as least sketches as you want. Obviously, you can get a little bit convoluted, so you don't want to have everything be in one sketch, but it makes sense to kind of make the things, kind of optimize it for the least amount of steps, I guess is one way to say it. At this point, we should probably check our work, quote unquote, see if this changes. Things kind of just adjust with it because we have constraints set. So knowing when to add constraints and knowing what you want to push, what features do you want to be able to kind of adjust and stay still, what features do you want to be able to stretch out there. So this is a really great project, a really good project for parameters, user parameters. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's about all I wanted to cover. Definitely let me know what you guys think, and if you have any kind of tips and stuff like that, you can let me know and others know. I'm going to do a quick Q&A in the chat because I haven't looked at the chat, and we'll just kind of do a quick QA. So if you got any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Yeah. So Rito Strike is saying path on pattern should also work on this example. Yeah, you could totally do that. You could probably also use the copy, move copy command as well. Let's see. If anybody's wondering, Fusion360 is free to download for any hobbyists and makers. You can subscribe to a 1-year licensing thing, which you can renew after your license is up. So I did that recently, which worked really well. Has anyone used TPU other than Ninjaflex? Yeah, here in the States, it seems like Ninjaflex has this nice brand recognition. There's other filaments, like from Recruze, I think it's called Filaflex, which is a company out in Europe. I believe there's Widowflex. I saw XYZ Aiden use that stuff. But me personally, I've just been using Ninjaflex. Just have a whole bunch of it. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. Yep. This is will be up available after the show. Like I think about an hour or two after this stream ends, so you can watch it again. Writer is asking what is the PID for the hexagonal permaproto, and what's that project? What was the project for what wristband? Yeah, so this little guy here is nothing released yet. I designed this in EagleCAD. This will be probably a future project when I get to it pretty soon, I suppose. But it's a really cool little concept. It's very, very simple. I've seen at least another person do this before. On Tindy selling one of them, but it's not really, so, you know, the breadboards, the permaprotos are set just like a breadboard, so there's traces that connect all of these rows together, and there's these thicker pads over here that kind of connect on this way, and they have little plus and minus, so you can kind of see what it is in little letters and stuff. So we'll probably manufacture this, but we'll get there. I like to sit on projects. Don't sit on projects. Get them done as quick as you can and release them. Otherwise, this will sit around forever. Yeah, so I'll get on that one soon. But this project is more about printing with Ninjaflex. This tutorial was more about just kind of making wristbands and using user parameters and those type of things. Yeah, octagonal. Yeah, it's meant to be worn. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. The only thing is that it's a little bit. Yeah, there's like little what do you call it? Little holes here, little cutouts here, for the PCB. It's the little cutout on the PCB so that I can insert the strap. It's a little bit difficult, as you can see, because there's like a little stopper here, so you kind of have to kind of first force it out of there, which I'm not going to do. So I got to work on a better method for that. Yeah, so for the you'll see it in the beginning of the video though, that these little connectors here are what hold the band. They allow the bands to connect to the Apple Watch. So that's about it. Cool. Yep, exactly. It's a little slit and the band goes through it. Okay, cool. Hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. It is Sunday here. Cool. Let me guys know if you guys did enjoy the video. Go ahead and leave a like. If you have any ideas for future tutorials, you can also let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for suggestions and things as well. You can check us out every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time at 3D Hangouts, and we kind of do these random layer by layer tutorials when we can. And right now it's a great time. I have a little bit of off time, so I thought I'd do some on time. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you guys throughout the week, and I will see you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you. Bye, everybody.